Hi guys, so let's talk about how you go from feeling stuck to standing in your power. So this is something that I've really been obsessed, and I'll say my whole career as a coach has been built around figuring out how to, and excuse my makeup is coming off, but how to take women specifically, because that has been my audience, from a state of hiding in plain sight to standing in their power. This is something that I've said for years, and intuitively during coaching sessions I've been able to navigate that, but never really had a framework until now. It is an evolving framework. I am working through the stages, the naming convention for it, but I couldn't hold it. I really wanted to start sharing this because I think it can help somebody. I know it has blessed me already to see it on paper in this first kind of stage that it is, but I believe that every one of us get to a point in our life where we are hiding in plain sight. No matter your level of success, no matter if you're working a six-figure job or you're just coming out of college, it doesn't matter your level, but I believe that we go through these phases where we hiding or we don't recognize necessarily that we have any power. We feel powerless. We feel like other people got what they need. We feel like we got nothing. One of the stories in the Bible is a story of a woman who said, hey, listen, I think she was telling, I can't remember which prophet, but she was talking to one of them and said, listen, he said, get me bread. And she said, no, I'm carrying this stick because I'm getting ready for us to eat our last meal and go and die. I don't know what you're talking about, right? I think it's in Second King. Anyway. And so I think that there are many people that feel, I know I have felt that, right? Okay, let me just go and die. Let me just carry this thing and just manage because I'm just trying to survive here. So I think there's that first stage where we feel that way. And that's phase one, right? I'm calling it hiding in plain sight. And when I get on phone calls with people, a lot of time that's kind of where they feel, right? Powerless, not really feel like they hold the power to get to the next phase of their life. They don't even know sometimes what the next phase could look like. They're on survival mode. The second phase is that whisper. And the whisper or the revelation is when somebody says something in you or life, or you just decide like, nah, I'm going to fight back. This can't be me. I've hit rock bottom. I can just go up from here. For me, it's been a mentor seeing something in me and saying, you're a coach. It's been myself sometimes saying, you deserve better than that. It's been God literally in dreams saying, hey, are we going to just lay here and die? Like, what are we doing? But a whisper, a revelation where you start thinking to yourself, I'm better than this job. I'm better than this relationship. I'm better than what these people say about me. I'm not going to wait for y'all to see me. I'm here. And so that's stage two, right? And you got to keep moving. Otherwise, you can go back to hiding. It depends. We can go back and forth with these stages. And the third stage is the activation stage. In the activation stage is when you make up your mind and you decide, hey, listen, I don't even feel like I have power. I don't feel powerful yet, but I've decided that my tomorrow has to be better than my yesterday. And I'm going to see what it could look like potentially on the other side. And that's when you make decisions. When I'm on sales calls with people and I say to them, here's what it's going to cost you. And somebody says yes. They're usually saying yes to getting activated, to getting to that next phase. That's when you make a decision, right? And you get to this activation phase, and people, a lot of the time in the book I wrote called The Business of You Hiding in Plain Sight, I stopped there. And I find it interesting because I think in the past 7 years, I have helped women walk through the activation phase. Because the activation phase comes with level to it. There's a level that I like to call the dressing room. And in the dressing room, this is where before showtime, before the stages, where you're having this conversation with yourself. You're not who you used to be, but you're not who you want to be yet. So you're having these conversations with yourself, negotiating with yourself, trying to get out of the revelation you received, trying to be like, nah, bruh. Nah, who do I think I am to make videos? Man, I don't know. That's the dressing room. And in the dressing room, and we don't even have enough time here to get into it. That alone is a thing. But after the dressing room, you get on stage. And the stages, there's levels even to the stage. There are stages where a stage of 10 people, 20, maybe you go live and 2 people show up, or, you do your first event and nobody shows up. And then maybe 20 people, 50 people, 1,000 people, 3,000 people. And on those stages, you are learning to own your voice. You are learning who you are, who you're not. You are learning failure. You are learning all these different things about yourself. And you are also starting to learn about power. You are starting to learn about power and what it looks like when you're on stage at 10%, when it looks like when you're at 20%, when it looks like when you're at 50%. And the goal of the activation phase, I believe, is to get to 100%. Is to be able to, at a moment notice, I think about the story of the woman with the issue of blood. I'm obsessed with that lady. She's going to probably show up in my book. But I think about her and Jesus. And I think about the fact that he was so activated and so full of power that he said, somebody touched me, power left me. Power, with all the people that were around him, he said, power left me. So power is something that has voltage to it. It can leave you, you can lose it, you can gain it. And so during the activation phase, you are searching and seeking. If you are somebody who wants to be at your best, you are trying to figure out, how do I show up at 100%? How do I do this better? How do I do it with less fear? How do all that stuff? You're trying to master your art. You're trying to master this new phase of your life. And in that space, right, I believe that people are attracted to that. That when you are walking in your purpose, when you are being authentic and honest about yourself, there's something that draws people to you. And so we talk about the activation, embodying your power and figuring that out. The last phase of this is what I call multiplication, because I think that a lot of the time what's happening with people at the top of their games, it becomes this thing of like, and I've been there, where you're asking yourself, what's next? You know, you hear about athletes that after they win the Olympics, or after, you know, actors, after they win the Oscars, they have this dive, like they almost go back into hiding. They go back to stage one of asking themselves, there must be more. I've spent my whole life climbing this thing. There got to be more to life. This can be it for me. And I believe that that's because the final stage here is multiplication. I believe that we are called to multiply your impact, multiply. This is when you start training other people. This is when we start talking about legacy. And it is important for us to get to multiplication. But I believe that a lot of us go between phase 3 and phase 2 and phase 1. We go back and forth. A lot of people, even within the activation phase, a lot of women, a lot of men will be functioning high power, high voltage on stage, but can't say anything at home. Will be powerful women in the boardroom, but they're being abused at home. And so they haven't figured out even how to fully embody being powerful and what that looks like in the midst of also having the character of God, how that looks like with peace and joy without hustling constantly. So I am very excited about giving word and stages and steps to the things that I've been working with my clients behind the scenes for years and years. And I just wanted to share it because I was so excited about it and thinking through when we are able to identify for ourselves what stages we are in and being honest about what stages we are in depending on the venture. Because with new venture, also you might start over, right? I thought about it, so I'm going to end with this, where God has asked me to put together a retreat for months now. And I've been just sitting, hiding. I'm not even activated. I'm not even there. I've been just hiding and questioning and wondering, will anybody show up? What would it look like? I don't know. And all these things. And so you might think, oh no, she's at a level where she's multiplying on all cylinder. But we find ourselves, right, depending on what area and facet, having to navigate and having to figure out where we fit in. And my prayer for all of us is that we learn how to stay in our full power so we can get to the point I was making, is so you can get to multiplication. Because that's where real impact is. That's what we are called to do when it says, I've called you to multiply. But you got to go through those stages and those steps so that you can get to the real thing, the thing that you were really called to do, which is not just being on stage for being on stage, which is not to just be powerful for power's sake, but so that you can multiply your impact and multiply and make changes and touch the world in a mighty way. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts, what we think, where are we, what phase, does this make sense? Am I missing it? Am I completely off? Let me know and let's talk about it. Bye, guys.